James O'Keefe of ProjectVeritas.com has broken hundreds of stories that have brought the establishment to their knees. But this latest one, with the head of Google censorship, and the group has an Orwellian name, is the biggest yet. Google executive, and there's a bunch of these people on tape, admits election meddling to prevent Trump winning 2020, brags Congress can pressure us, but we're not changing. It's a 25-minute report. It's at ProjectVeritas.com. It's at Infowars.com. It's at NewsWars.com. It's at DrudgeReport.com. I don't care where you get it, but your email, your text messages, that gets past the censors. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, get it out. Call Congress. Call Talk Radio. This is the total proof and their arrogance. James O'Keefe just got in the cockpit. He'll be with us for the next 15 minutes. James, get right to, I believe this is your biggest coup yet. Because this lady's so high level. Tell us what's unfolded.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, it is a 25-minute report. We uploaded it this morning. It's on Drudge and Red. And this is a video recording of an insider. That's someone who currently works for Google blowing the whistle. It comes on the heels of a story from a Pinterest insider, which I know your audience saw. So there's this sort of watershed moment where they're all coming forward. Now, what this video shows is it shows the insider talking about algorithmic unfairness. That's a term you probably haven't heard before. The confidential documents, which I have a copy of here and appear in the video. And I'm going to read from the document. It says, quote, in some cases, it may be appropriate to take no action if the system, that's Google, accurately affects reality, while in other cases, it may be desirable to consider how we might help society reach a more fair and equitable state via product intervention. So these documents show algorithmic unfairness. The executive named Janai on the secret recording obtained by Project Veritas shows how they want to affect the 2020 election outcome. So all these things corroborate each other. It is a huge story, Alex. An insider, whistleblower, secret recordings of the executives inside of Google, and the documents. And it shows Google's efforts to basically augment reality and to quote the Google documents, basically have an impact on the masses to get the agenda they want.
James, when I got up this morning and saw this, nothing gives me butterflies. Nothing gives me short of breath. I almost had an anxiety attack on how in the hell am I going to make a big enough deal about this? And then a text message came in from the producer. Oh, we've got James O'Keefe. I was like, because I want to beat these people. And we know they've been doing it. You've caught them a bunch yourself. We've caught them. They brag about it. And now you've got like the Holy Grail, the Rosetta Stone, the skeleton key. I mean, she's on there. Others are on there just admitting it. And this term product intervention. Sundar is up before Congress 8 months ago saying we don't intervene in anything. I mean, the perjury alone.
Yeah, and then one of the things that this Jen Janai, who's the head of Google Innovation, says, you just showed the quote. She said that we're not changing. Congress can pressure us, but we don't want to show up. We're not changing. So I think one of the things the insider told me was how amazing. There he is. Congress can pressure us, but we're not changing. And she specifically says that Liz Warren. I like Liz Warren, but Liz Warren has some problems because if they break Google up, says this Jen Janai, then small companies won't be able to stop Trump, but we can. We can prevent a big company can prevent Trump's situation, whereas smaller companies cannot. So the issue is, Alex, that Google is classified as a platform.
I understand. Section 230, back in 60, James O'Keefe, the legend.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Okay, I've been interviewing James O'Keefe for 10 years, since he blew open Acorn, and I've seen all the devastating victories, and them trying to indict him and their failures. But to sit here and have him have the head of Google censorship with this weird Orwellian name of the office caught in undercover video, you realize how hard it is to get this, to penetrate, to infiltrate. This is like the Allies in 1941 getting the Enigma code from the Nazis, okay? if Congress and the president don't act, then they must be complicit, which we know Trump isn't. But his underlings are bought off by Google and keep, he's not lobbying and taking lobbying money, but they are. This has gone to the president. It needs to go mega viral. It's at drudgereport.com, Infowars.com, ProjectVeritas.com. Get it out. 25-minute report. Total evidence of Google election meddling in 2020. Trump must act now. Reddit blocks Project Veritas. The group exposes Google election meddling. Insider blows whistle on exec reveals Google plan to prevent Trump situation 2020. They are scared of this. This is kryptonite to their fraud. So we got 8.5 minutes till work break. You got to go. You've got the floor. Am I right in saying this is probably the most important thing you've ever broken? This is the total proof.
This is by far the biggest thing we ever broke. I mean, a lot of people are thinking, what's going to happen? Well, first of all, the story just came out. I think Congress is going to hold hearings. Lawmakers are telling me sort of here, they're texting me, we're going to have hearings in July. But, I mean, the video is 25 minutes long, so I mean, I've only got about 8 minutes, so let me just try to get through some of the facts here and maybe talk about it. I'm not one to characterize people. I'm just going to quote them, okay, Alex? I'm not going to characterize them. That man in the shadow you see, the insider, is a current Google employee. And one of the things he said to me as I was interviewing him, he said, James, people would think this is a conspiracy theory if it weren't for the documents. And one of the documents he gave me says, and I'm going to quote them. This is Google, not me, not you. It says, quote, training data are collected and classified. Algorithms are programmed. Media are filtered, ranked, aggregated, and generated. People like us are programmed. That's a direct quote. People like us are programmed. And one of the things that this executive says is that people who believe with and agree with President Trump will not like our definition of, quote, fairness. That's Jen Janai, the woman you're looking at right there. People who voted for the current president do not agree with our definition of fairness. So what's interesting, Alex, is that Google is saying here that they're able to define fairness and this algorithmic unfairness, and they have product intervention. So what the Google insider did is he sat down with me, and he Googled Hillary Clinton's emails, that's just the phrase. And you can do it right now at your home computer. And it doesn't autocomplete, even though millions of people search for that. But then he typed in Donald Trump's emails, and it did autocomplete, even though very few people search for that. So Google is actually meddling in an election by virtue of defining what is fair and what is not fair, and they would never admit this publicly. And right now, they're in a huge world of trouble because that is not a low-level ranking employee. That is the head of their entire innovation department. And she, as well as Gaurav Gite, corroborated the Google algorithmic unfairness document. Now, Alex, one thing I must tell you.
And that's the censorship. That's the censorship blueprint. She's the head of innovation, which is ending the old algorithm, what's popular, going to censorship.
I mean, you couldn't get better descriptors for the names of the departments if you went to Orwell or the protagonist Winston in 1984 who edits out that. Remember that movie where he edits out all the newspaper?
Yeah, Ministry of Truth is the Ministry of Law.
Ministry of Truth. I mean, this document's called Definition of Algorithmic Unfairness. It's labeled privileged and confidential. Now, many of you are wondering, wow, these people are real heroes for blowing the whistle. Hell yeah, they're heroes. They make a lot of money and they don't care. And one of the things he said, the man in the silhouette there who works for Google, is that I'm nothing but an ant. He says, I'm going after Goliath here. And I said, are you scared? Are you frightened? He said, you know what? I hope I get away with it, but there are some things bigger than me. He said this to me.
Beautiful.
He said, there are some things bigger than me. And you know what's happened in the last few hours? I've already had a dozen more people email me. And I think you're seeing a watershed moment right now, right here today, as I said, where people are going to come forward, Alex, because they want the people to know what's going on.
You said it, James. It's not hype. You can feel the history. This is watershed. And all the whistleblowers, it's now just cascading. And you look at the arrogance of their head of censorship under this Orwellian term, and she goes, it doesn't matter what Congress does. Well, you notice Sundar wouldn't even go to Congress a year ago and testify. And then they gave all the secrets that the Pentagon had given them to the Chinese with their Dragonfly operation, their censorship office, and their AI project. And then now suddenly they're having to grovel a bit at the executive level, but still their employees, like you said, are programmed cult members still carrying this out. This is incredible.
Their words, not yours. They say that they're trying to, quote, program the people. And one of the things that Janai says is the reasons we launched the artificial intelligence principles, there it is, ML fairness, is because people were not putting that line in the sand, that they were not saying what's fair and what's equitable. So we're like, we're a big company, we're going to say it. So what Janai is saying is, don't bust us up, Elizabeth Warren. By the way, I'm anxious to see what Elizabeth Warren has to say about this, because she's being attacked by this Google executive. What they're saying is, don't break us up, don't get involved, antitrust, because we need to stay the Leviathan. We need to be large such that we can continue to define what is real.
She's saying we need to be the big global monopoly to bully these evil conservatives that don't want to sexualize their 5-year-olds or open the borders.
Yes, she's saying keep us large so that we can change the outcome. If 2016 happened again, would the outcome be... I love you guys, producer. Your producers are so fast. You pull it up as soon as I'm bringing it up. If the algorithms happened again, would we have a different outcome than 2016? That's the quote. And Alex, I think there's going to be hearings as a result of this. I think there's going to be whistleblowers. I think, and I'm really sincere, I've known you for 9
I don't think you think the dam has broken. Sorry, go ahead.
I really think this is the moment that we've been waiting for, where the heroes amongst us, because it's one thing, Alex, if I infiltrate or I go undercover, this is them. This is them giving us the information. So I'm just really excited, and I know there's going to be more news to break.
No, I agree. Remember 2 years ago, you brought it out, and it later came out in the news. Google is more afraid of whistleblowers than anybody, and is running NSA-level spying on their own people.
I think what we really need, though, is we need people to contact Google. Your listeners are, what can I do? What can I do? Well, other than blow the whistle inside a company, I think, and you can do that by sending us an encrypted email, veritastips@protonmail.com.
Beautiful.
But what we need to do is, I think if you just press, I think it's, I don't have the email address in front of me, but the press office at Google, we've got to email them and get a comment. We got to get a statement from Google about this. We got to get a reaction.
Well, they're going to try to cover this up, but internally, this is going to run through all their employees, and they know they're in a cult. They know it's getting more out of control. Let's shift the minutes we have left, and please come back soon. I know you're working very hard. James O'Keefe at ProjectVeritas.com. The audience here can override the AI, and that's why you're here. The audience has to email this, Facebook it, call Talk Radio, call C-SPAN, call the White House. Trump has to act now on this. I mean, this, like you said, congressional hearings coming in July. You've got Congress people calling you, obviously senators calling you. You have given them the mother lode. This is like Al Capone being caught, with dead bodies.
But most people are on the take. I mean, right? That's the whole, the New York Times is supposed to be no fear or favor. The bottom line is most people in this country are either afraid or they are on the take. That Google is such a powerful company. I mean, most people are afraid to publish a story about a company that can censor and define their income, because most distribution happens through the social media companies. So Project Veritas does not have any advertisers. I can't be boycotted. I can't be bought or sold. I refuse to compromise on my principles. I refuse to settle lawsuits, Alex. I've won 5 lawsuits. I'll go all the way to a jury verdict, which I did, and I won. And I think that people are, the Goliath fears the little guy if the little guy stands on principle, right?
Oh, I got to say it, James, if people want to see a thoroughbred Americana hero and a crew that have gone through the fire, you're it. Infowars has done it. Only a few others. You are the example. And we just salute you and thank you for all your courage and everything you've done. And I guess you've got even, I'm told, you told me a few months ago, I got really big stuff coming. What else is coming? Big stuff?
All these people are coming to me in the last 24 hours. More insiders. Yes, I just learned last night. There's another person in the company that wants to come forward. It doesn't get better than that. VeritasTips@protonmail.com. I urge you, if you work for one of these organizations and you do want to tell the truth to people, contact us. We'll work with you.
James, fabulous. I admire you and your whole crew. You are the blood of freedom. We salute you.